Finally, the Mets back in a win column after their worst losing skid of the season, losing 3 straight over this past week. They win tonight in their first game of a 3-game set, folks, against the Texas Rangers. How's it going, everybody? Hope everyone is having a phenomenal start to their holiday weekend. I know I am. The Mets are winning 4-3, a strong victory led by, yes, David Peterson. I have so much to say about Peterson's performance, along with some clutch bats that the Mets got. Thank you, Eduardo Escobar, Eddie Two Stacks, as I love to call him. But folks, if you're just chiming in, if you're new to the channel especially, I will be deep diving everything that you need to know from tonight's game. I know there's a solid chance that a lot of you guys watch this on replay too, knowing that not everyone has Apple TV, Apple Plus, whatever it is, right, for the broadcast, which by all means, broadcast booth-wise, not the best, but the visuals always look phenomenal. I will give them credit where credit's due. No less, we have a lot to deep dive from tonight's victory, folks, so that's exactly what we will be doing here in a second. Then from there, I'll be answering all your comments, questions, and concerns here in the chat. But people in the live stream right now, guys, let's spam some W's in the chat. It's been a while. The first time, guys, in literally a week in which the Mets have finally scored more than 2 measly runs in a game. This was long overdue. Finally, the offense, again, wasn't the prettiest today. They went 2 for 6 for runners in scoring position, left them stranded there in the bottom of the 8th that we saw, but they still got the job done, thanks in part with Edwin Sugar Diaz shutting the door. Another day, another beautiful save by Edwin. This guy is just on another level, on another planet. This is Edwin Diaz that the Mets hope that they would have acquired back in 2019. No less, they have him now, and he is quite literally on pace to have his best stuff since 2018, if not better, in which he had a 60-save season during that campaign in his time with the Seattle Mariners. But guys, again, I'm absolutely pumped up. I know you are too. Let's continue to see those W's. Shout out to Sprite, Marvin, great members on the channel. All my members here in the chat, greatly appreciate you guys. And of course, make sure to smash that like and subscribe on. Help us get 100 likes for the first short-term goal and help us get a 16K subs, which we're getting really close to here on the channel for the next short-term goal. Greatly appreciate it, folks. And thank you all so much in advance. But guys, I want to know how everyone's feeling. What was your biggest standout tonight, folks? Because for me, we're going to be breaking down his arsenal shortly, but I just have to rave about David Peterson, folks. We went into tonight's game with uncertainties. Why, you might ask? Well, as you see from the highlighted comments to my left on the graphic, Chris Bassett, who was originally scheduled to pitch tonight against the Rangers, last minute, a couple hours before the game, was placed on the COVID IL, unfortunately. So he's going to be out for a couple starts here. David Peterson, who was lined up 4 days rest is what he already had, so it made sense for him to get the start tonight. He comes in, and what does he do? He absolutely shoves for the Amazons, goes 6 strong, gives up 3 earned runs, including a throwing error that I'll describe here in a minute, but 10 punchies, the second time in his young career in which he's had 10 strikeouts in a game. David Peterson, folks, looked nothing more than a man on a mission. That is what David looked like in a nutshell tonight. He was quick with his arsenal, he was quick with his pitches, and he was not fazed one bit, even after surrendering a couple solo bombs in this one. So a huge shout out to David Peterson. What a phenomenal outing for him, folks. But let's go down in the order. How did the Mets fare tonight? How did they get this overall victory besides some stellar pitching from David Peterson, the young southpaw in this Mets bullpen? Well, it starts off in the first, folks, and you love to see that, and you know the drill by now. When the Mets, at least when they're trying to at least tack on runs in the first couple lanes, even though that they didn't do it today, you could tell that they had a different feeling tonight. And even though that, yes, they have their struggles, it was encouraging to see they start things off. They had Francisco Lindor get on base with a walk. Pete Alonso with an opposite field single, his first of 2 on the night. Francisco Lindor would then steal third base because, again, they're facing Glenn Otto, a rookie right-hander for the Rangers, who, don't get me wrong, he has a 2.5 ERA on the road entering tonight's game, but this guy's given up 8 earned runs in his past 7 innings pitch for his total 2 starts throughout the month of June. Otto is a rookie, inexperienced. The Mets need to jump on him. They didn't do it as much as I would have liked them to, but now the Mets are currently 8-0 on the season against rookie pitchers, and that's great. So Jeff McNeil strikes out swinging, in which I put a clip on Twitter, folks, because if you don't know, with Apple TV, what they're doing is they have the audio really enhanced, so you can basically hear every at-bat and every batter, every ump, every type of call that they're making. And McNeil, who got a fastball up high and away, which was a clear ball that they called a strike. The ump was atrocious today. Sounds like a day that ends in a Y when they expanded strike zone. McNeil wasn't happy about that call, then strikes out again. This is on him. It was a 93 hitter right down the pipe. He swears an F-bomb, throws his helmet. You know the drill. That's Jeff McNeil at his peak, right? But No less, the Mets, they leave them stranded there, which was unfortunate for them. However, it was good to see that they would start to tack on runs, and it wouldn't take long, even though that it started off with the Texas Rangers, thanks to Marcus Semien, the man who got the $180 million payday this offseason, that didn't decide to wake up his home run bat after hitting 40 bombs last year, had literally nothing through the first couple months of the season this year. In June, however, he finally found his swing, and he found it again here. He hit a solo bomb there to left. That upset me. That gave me PTSD. I remember Marcus Semien greatly. I saw him hit a bomb off the Mets, if I'm not mistaken, last year when Toronto came to town in Citi Field in July. Coincidentally enough, literally a year ago, because I was at one of those games. Semien gets an early lead there for the Texas Rangers. And again, folks, I do apologize if the visuals slightly drop here in the stream. Just give it a minute or two to pick back up. I've been having connection issues, but that also is sounding like something that, again, another day that ends in Y. It's always been happening. I do apologize. Continue to smash that like and subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts in the chat, folks, as we're breaking down this strong and, again, hopefully start of a win streak victory for the Mets 4-3 over the Rangers. But the Mets will start to finally tack on some offense, some long overdue offense there in the fourth inning. Francisco Lindor, who again had a strong day on the plate, only had one hit, but got on base multiple times in a stolen bag. Lindor gets a base knock. Jeff McNeil gets a walk as well. Mark Canha with an RBI double that just goes over the third base bag, hits off the wall, caroms, and just like that, the Mets tied this ball game 1-1. Mark Canha snaps his 0 for 15 hitless skid. That's great to see. Hopefully he's on the upwards direction with his offensive approach. Got a hit by pitch earlier in this game, which I did find funny. In case you guys don't know, Mark Canha is one of the most hit-by-pitch players in all baseball since he arrived in the league. He really crowds the plate a lot. He's like Brandon Nimmo, too. They get hit all the time, but it was funny because they had Canha mic'd up for the game today, folks, and you saw that Canha said, yeah, Glenn Otto, I know him. He hit me last year when Otto had one of a couple starts and a cup of coffee last year for the Texas Rangers after being traded there from the Yankees as part of that Joey Gallo deal. So he comes in, he leans in on a pitch a little bit, gets hit again, and then he gets that crucial game-tying RBI double there for the Mets in the fourth. And then as we fast forward things, folks, to the fifth, what happens? David Peterson has truly, I would say, his one and only bad pitch tonight, and it was a hanging curve, the curveball that he does not utilize often. He's known for that slider, which is how he got basically felt like all of his strikeouts, or at least the majority, down and away out of the zone, making hitters look absolutely silly, especially those left-handed bats. However, you saw Nathan Lowe come up to the plate, and it was a hanging curveball, and my goodness gracious, this one looked like it was going to go literally out of Citi Field. That's how ridiculous it was. Huge 435-foot bomb there to the second deck in the right field. Makes it a 2-run ball game. We fast forward to the sixth. Marcus Semien gets a base knock. He gets a second base after you saw in the other big offseason acquisition and Seager getting himself a ground out to advance the runner. Then a throwing error, a failed pickoff attempt there by David Peterson a second. Luis Gourmet wasn't able to handle the catch, which is a rare thing, doesn't happen often. No less, the error goes to Peterson, and that is able to get Semien from second to third. And then the run comes in as Adolis Garcia gets an RBI ground out. It's a 1-run ball game at that point, folks. And then that'll do it after the sixth for David Peterson. He ends it again, final line, 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 0 walks, 10 strikeouts, 90 pitches. David was absolutely phenomenal. I cannot say enough good things about this man. Season ERA now to 3.25 after giving up only 2 earned on 4 hits and 7 strong innings. His last start in Miami, especially against lesser opponents, David has really stepped up to the plate. And where would the Mets be without the David Petersons, without the Trevor Williams of the world? I genuinely do not know. However, after that, we see Seth Lugo come in the 7th, folks. What does he do? He has a phenomenal inning. Quick 1-2-3. Lugo's back. And he gets 2 strikeouts, 0 hits, 0 earned runs. Love that from Lugo. And a 1-pitch fly out there for the final out in the 7th. The Mets, however, again, wouldn't tack on any more runs. Adam Ottavino comes in the 8th, and Adam gives up a base knock, but that's all she wrote. He gets out of that inning unscathed. Adam Ottavino has truly been one of the best relievers for the Mets all season long. And for a Mets team that's been carrying right around a 4.6 or so, 4.7 ERA in the month of June, which was among some of the worst in baseball during the month of June. Thankfully, they're on the right foot here in July, and hopefully that continues again when on paper, folks, in case you don't know as well. The Mets, schedule-wise, this is their second easiest month of the season, folks. Right now, they have including tonight's game in which the Mets were victorious, 17 games against teams with a below 500 record and 8 games against teams with an above 500 record. So what does that tell me? It tells me the Mets need to take full advantage of the opportunities given them. They didn't take as much advantage as I would have liked to see tonight, but they got the job done. They got the victory in the end, and hopefully this is a confidence boost for them going forward. And something that I do apologize, folks. I don't know why I completely missed by it. After Marcana's RBI double that we saw there in the fourth, I just skipped by because I'm just rolling right now. I do apologize. This was the big story of the game offensively. It was Eduardo Escobar with a no doubt 3-run bomb to the right side. Again, second deck. You'll love to see that. And what was so important about Escobar's home run, you might wonder? It's the fact that Escobar started the at-bat 3-0. Then he had back-to-back pitches that were out of the zone, called strikes on him to make it a full count thanks to this schmuck of an ump with his expanded strike zone. So what happens after that? Otto looking like he's going to probably face his last batter. So he throws a heater right down the pipe, and Eddie does not miss it. He sits on that bad boy, and that was easily one of the best home runs he has hit this season. So hopefully that's a big confidence boost for Escobar. Again, he has struggled mightily for the majority of this season outside the month of April. So hopefully this is a step in the right direction for him and for these Mets hitters. Then we get to the 8th, folks. The Mets have a couple guys on the corners, less than 2 outs, cannot get that run in. Some just not good at bats by the Mets, especially Jeff McNeil. Jeff had an 0 for today. He went 0 for 4. He looked frustrated, and I don't blame him. Jeff has not really been fantastic yet since coming back from his injury that had him out for around 10 days or so. No less, he's going to get his swing back. I'm not concerned. But overall, the Mets, Edwin Diaz in the 9th that we saw with the dominant save, and that is how the Mets win this one, folks. 4-3 is your final. I'm so excited to get into this one and share your comments, questions, concerns, reactions, all that fun stuff. Like I said, I will tell you guys right now, this was by no means the prettiest game for the New York Mets. This was definitely a game that should have been far more blown open than what it was. The Mets offensively tied the Rangers with only 6 hits apiece. They only had a 211 expected batting average to the Rangers 203. Again, not a fancy game by any stretch. Definitely a game where you would have liked to see the Mets blow the doors open. However, you need to start somewhere when you lose 3 straight and you, again, have an abysmal offense. You're 2 for 25 in your past couple games with runners in scoring position, right? You enter tonight's game, you go 2 for 6, which isn't terrible, but again, isn't great either. Hopefully, all I know is that this is the start of something good. The Mets look for the series victory tomorrow against the Texas Rangers. We'll see what the weather looks like, however. And then in the days going forward, they have the Cincinnati Reds that we're going to see, in which, yes, Max Scherzer will be back, not for the 4th of July game, but actually for the game after that Tuesday. I think he's being considerate, knowing that a lot of us fans and just people out there want to enjoy Independence Day, maybe want to take away from the television or sports. I know I will, at least. So Max knows he's going to be starting Tuesday. I can't wait for that. I'll be just breaking down more on Scherzer and his debut back in the rotation. Probably episode that's coming out Monday early on the channel for the latest Bleav in Queens podcast. Myself and my co-host Joe Serralo out, and of course we are represented by the Bleav Network. So stay tuned for that on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. But a couple more things I want to mention, folks, before I cut it off for people on replay. Let's deep dive David Peterson's arsenal, because my goodness gracious, this was a thing of beauty, guys. Wow. David Peterson, what stood out today? It was, like per usual, it was the slider. This guy has been simply unhittable with the slider. Opponents are having right around a $150 batting average against it. That has been his bread and butter, his strikeout pitch by far, and it's just been a thing of beauty, nothing short. If you look at his arsenal, however, he topped out with the four-seam fastball, 33% of his arsenal tonight. Topped out at 96 miles per hour. The minimum was 92. The average was 95. Sinker, 28% of his arsenal tonight. It's 96 topped out, 91 minimum, and 94 the average. The slider, 27% again, guys, and this is what you have to be keeping an eye on. Slider had 19 swings, 7 whiffs, a 37% whiff percentage, folks. That is absolutely disgusting. We love that from David Peterson. Topped out with the velo at 88. Minimum was 83 and average was 85. Then you have the changeup at 10%, a topping out at 89, minimum 86 and average 87. And the curveball that, again, he only threw twice, and one of them was an absolute bomb to right field thanks to Nathan Lowe. So we know the curveball, not the best pitch by David, and let's keep that out of his arsenal. There's no need for it. I think he proved further as to why he doesn't need it in his starts going forward. Topped out 78, minimum was 77, and the average was 77 on the velo. So biggest takeaway again from tonight's game, folks, as you see, David Peterson is my number 1 star. How can he not be? He was just an absolute stud. You'll love to see that from David, and hopefully, again, he continues to be a force in this Mets rotation and maybe gives them a factor down the stretch this year as either, again, a guy in the starter really pushing to be in the rotation, even with everyone healthy because he's pitching that good, or as a long reliever can be really effective down the stretch come playoff time, assuming, again, knock on wood, that the Mets get in there when the time is right. However, looking outside him, Eduardo Escobar is my number 2 star. Easy decision, 1 for 3 with the bomb, the 3 RBIs, a run scored, huge confidence boost. And again, Eddie Two Stacks, I love the man. He's a phenomenal guy, phenomenal personality. He has just been a struggle for the majority of this year at the plate. Not great defensively either, so we need to see more of that from Eddie. There's a reason why the Mets signed him. He's an upwards of 30 home run guy, and this guy is not even anywhere near that pace right now. So hopefully, again, this is a step in the right direction and a step in the right direction for this Mets offense that has been in a funk over the past week and a half to 2 weeks, and directly in part with facing stellar pitching the Houston Astros, which I will give credit where credit's due. At least the Astros have been shutting the door on every single team this year, not just the Mets. They've been shutting the door. They've had the Yankees number. They are their daddy per usual. And throughout this 9-game stretch, the past 9 games for the Astros or so, their starters have had a 1.5 ERA. So it's good knowing that even though that the Mets have sucked against the Astros, they aren't the only one. And the best team, the top dog in baseball, and the Yanks, have had their fair share of struggles offensively against them too. So that is something, food for thought going forward. However, looking at the number 3 star, Edwin Diaz, another day, another save, 2 strikeouts. I'm absolutely obsessed with Edwin. This guy is not just a bona fide all-star, but he is someone that is going down right now as one of the best relievers in all of baseball. Could even be argued as the best. That's how good and locked in Edwin Sugar Diaz has been. And my number 5 star, Alonso, is number 4 with 2 opposite field base knocks, 2 for 3. When you're the only Mets hitter with 2 base knocks today, naturally you're going to get in there. And the number 5 star, I got to go with Lugo. I gave him the edge over Ottavino because they both pitched scoreless innings, but Lugo did not give up a hit, and he had 2 strikeouts, something that Ottavino did not do. So he got the slight edge. No less, that's where I'm going to be cutting things off, guys. I apologize for the visuals dropping. Like I said, though, I'm going to be starting to answer all your comments, questions, and concerns here in the live stream, folks. For people on replay, this is where we'll stop things. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, everybody. How you feel after another strong Mets victory. Again, not the prettiest one, but they got the job done. That's important. This is hopefully, again, the step in moving forward, taking advantage against a subpar schedule here in the month of July. Need to take advantage and you get the series dub tomorrow or whenever they play next, because I know the weather doesn't look too great this Saturday until proven otherwise. No less, make sure to let me know all your thoughts down below. And also make sure to check out previous content on the channel, guys. There's been a lot of trade rumors going on. The Mets over the past day have, in fact, started to pursue Trey Mancini that I did a video on earlier today. Make sure to check that out. Make sure to check out other trade target videos that we've come out yesterday and over the past week. I hope you guys enjoy them. No less, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Greatly appreciated. Folks here in the live stream, let's get your comments now. But for people on replay, this is where I'll be cutting things off.